Hello everyone. Livestream time. It's a livestream jump scare. Usually I set these several hours in advance, if not a day in advance, but today you had half an hour notice, so there won't be many live viewers here, but how are we all doing? Okay, so I just wanted to do a sort of a rapid fire live stream, just something quick and fun before Christmas. I've been very busy with, I wrapped up Frey Civil War and I've been busy with Christmas stuff and going to my parents tomorrow. So I thought I'd pump out one last pre-Christmas live stream. There might be another pre-New Year's live stream, but it's possible that this is the last live stream of 2024. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, it'll be quick. It'll be fun. I like to do streams breaking down my previous videos, so let's just chat about the Frey Civil War. I'm gonna run through what I talked about in the video. Maybe explore some new ideas if they come to me. I'll be reading the chat, seeing what you guys have to say, and as always, send in super chats if you want me to read something out loud and to help support the channel, or go into the description, Streamlabs location, just like Alt-Shift-X. He uses that as well, and that means that 100% of what you donate goes to me instead of YouTube taking whatever percent. So super chats, Streamlabs donation, it's up to you, or you can just have fun in the chat. Early happy birthday to you, Mink. I see your comment. Early happy birthday. Like I said, I'm time rush. I'm trying to tidy the house. I'm wrapping up presents. I'll be super fast. Let's begin. Actually, let's start the live stream. So, just having some water. Oh, come on, Canva. Don't do the thing where you don't. Come on, don't mess with me. No, don't mess with me. Come on. There we go. Very nice. Do excuse me. All right, so obviously I have to give credit to the Mad Maester himself, Preston Jacobs. He created the Frey Civil War theory quite a few years back. I have the link to that in the description of my video. I shout him out as well. I might put that in the in this description as well once I'm done. And I kind of took his ideas, the bulk of his ideas, and I threw in some new stuff to make the war a bit more chaotic. So this is my amalgamation. This is my version. So shout out to Preston Jacobs there. But my idea is that the Frey Civil War, the current heir is Edwin Frey. I hope you like the family trees being in this. Everyone was roasting me for not having proper family trees in my original Every Frey Explained video. So I was like, fine, I'll give you some context. Probably still a confusing video, but there we go. So yeah, Edwin is the heir. Of course, he has a younger brother, Blackwalder, who they hate each other. They apparently spy on each other. Blackwalder may be involved in Steveron's death and Rymon's death. We don't know, but it's very likely that one will kill the other. So this interpretation is Blackwalder kills his brother Edwin and then turns to Edwin's daughter and says, well, you're like a 5-year-old girl and you're my bastard anyway, so no one's going to rally behind you. I am now Lord of the Twins. But he's famously quite unpopular. No one likes him. Well, we don't know for sure. House Frey, we don't have super deep dive into them, but context clues people. What do we have? We have Merritt Frey, who's like, I don't like him. I'm scared of him. Everyone fucking is scared of him. He probably pisses people off by sleeping around and, you know, despoiling their daughters and so on. And Lothar has that line of, fortunately for us, they hate each other more than they hate us. With the implication being that they know Edwin and Blackwalder are just kind of spiteful people who, like, hate everyone, but they're so wrapped up in each other that maybe everyone else can kind of step back and not get kicked out of the twins, you know. So I'm not entirely sure who would rally behind Blackwalder. We don't know enough about House Frey for me to, like, pick specific phrase, but yeah. So the original, Preston Jacobs' theory suggests that Edwin and Blackwalder basically kill each other, and then it skips over the daughters, and it goes straight to Walton. But I was like, let's include, let's have Blackwalder defeat Edwin and succeed, so then we can have a Frey, like a proper civil war at the twins, where one Frey holds one castle and the other Frey holds the other castle. So we have Blackwalder holding one, then Walton Frey comes out and he's like, hey everyone, Blackwalder is illegitimate because he killed Edwin and he killed Ryman and he killed Steveron. He's a murderer. Everyone hates him. Don't support him. Oh, Peter Pimple? He's dead, so you got to support me. Oh, Peter Pimple has a daughter? young girl, bastard, support me, right? So Walton is next in line. And then I threw in a fun little idea of Lothar Frey being like, if Lothar hates Blackwater, he's not going to support Blackwater. He wants to stay in an influential role in the twins, so as a steward probably. So he rallies behind Walton in this timeline and goes, "I'm behind you, Walton. You're gonna be my puppet." And from the video, I had a little puppet section. What I did was I essentially saved Walton's head, including that magnificent Waynwood chin, because the Waynwoods are described as having horse-like faces. At least one of them is, so I carry that to all the Waynwoods. Anyway, I separately saved his head and his body as two separate assets, so that in Da Vinci I could have them moving, rotating side to side, detached from each other, with Lothar enlarged behind him, so that it would look like a puppet dancing. I don't know if that came across super well, but yeah, I think it did. So we have Blackwater versus Walton. And while I'd already created all the art, and I was busy animating the video when I realised, wait a second, they're not all just going to have the Frey sigil representing them, because it's a civil war. They need to be represented by a personal coat of arms. So I thought it'd be fun to go through all of the different factions and give them all personal coats of arms, and I didn't want anyone to have a blue castle on silver. Obligatory apologies for the plane overhead if you can hear it. Guantanamo Bay gets busy at Christmas, I'm telling you. I don't know what's going on. So, in House of the Dragon, in the books, you have Rhaenyra's disgusting quartered sigil versus Aegon's based golden dragon on black. And in the show, they changed the gold dragon black to gold dragon on dark green, which to include more of the whole Team Green High Tower thing, which is really awesome. I like that. But then they changed Rhaenyra's disgusting sigil into just the basic Targaryen red dragon on black sigil, which kind of is dumb, because no, that's both of their sigils. They are going to use those after the war. They want to tell each other apart during the war, when they go into battle and everything. So having one side of the faction just have the regular Targaryen sigil is essentially just saying, this is the correct side. You know what I mean? So for Blackwater, obviously, I gave him a black castle, because I was like, he's the black sheep of the family, he's got the black beard, he's got the black personality, so black castle on silver seemed to make sense. Or I guess it's kind of a black castle on white, but I think it's silver. And then Walton, I was like, well, he's half Waynwood, and that is important later on in the theory, because the idea is that he will get Waynwood support from the Vale, so he'd want to boast about his Waynwood heritage, just as Rhaenyra boasts about her Velaryon marriage and her Arryn heritage in her quartered sigil in the books, because that's where her support base is coming from. So I tried to create a blend of the Frey sigil and the Waynwood sigil. The Waynwood sigil is a broken black wheel on green, so I was like, let's have the black wheel above the blue Frey castle on green. It doesn't look as ugly as I thought it would. I thought it would be a bit more disgusting. It doesn't look too bad. I had lots of fun with the sigils, I can tell you that. But yes, Blackwater in one castle, Walton with Lothar as his puppet master. In the other castle, they're fighting each other. They want control of the twins. They both claim to be the Lord. Yeah. I have a little something in the chat. Which of the Frey faction sigils do you like the best? Blackwater's, the simplicity of Blackwater's is nice. Just a black castle on silver. What were the other ones? Actually, I'll go through them. As I go through the live stream, I'll go through the different... I have pictures of all the different sigils, don't worry. We'll go through them. Peter Pimple is Azor Ahai. Maybe he is. People are coming into this stream like, wait, there's a stream? Why is there a stream? Yeah, so... But the Civil War is not that simple. It's not just Blackwater versus Walton. Come on, Canva, don't mess with me. We've also got the the issue of Darry and Riverrun. So let's begin with the issue of Darry. So Emmon Frey is the Lord of Riverrun. Not the Lord Paramount of the Trident, which it is kind of goofy that he thinks that. I know some of the Freys are kind of dim, but the idea that he's telling Jaime, he's like, look, I'm going to be a firm but fair overlord, okay? I'm going to be firm but fair. My father, I'll respect him as a father as long as he respects me as his Lord Paramount. I'll make no more rebellion. I'm going to be a just man. Jaime's like, what are you talking about? you know that you're not in charge of the Riverlands, right? Littlefinger is. And Aemond's like, he's an up-jumped coin counter. Which is a reasonable response, because Baelish being made Lord Paramount of the Trident is very stupid, but I think that was a deal done by Cersei, so that kind of, impulsive, rash. That makes sense. If Tywin did that deal, I can't remember who actually secures that for Baelish, but that doesn't feel like a Tywin thing. It feels kind of dumb to be like, let's put Baelish in charge of the Riverlands. Like, what? If you're going to have people... anyway. Oh, is it any dumber than putting the Freys in charge, though? Yeah, no, that would probably... The Freys being the Lord Paramount would probably blow up the Riverlands faster. Anyway, the screen's not changing. Canva, don't do this to me. There we go. Okay, finally. There we go. So, yes, Aemon is Lord of Riverrun, not of the Trident, but the fact that he kind of was boasting about being the Lord makes me go, perhaps he has ambitions. Maybe he would like to be Lord Paramount. Now, I did get a comment on my video saying... I don't know who commented, but they said, "Are you not misreading Aemon here? Because Aemon's a bit of a chinless, hand-wringing coward who's quite subservient to his wife. Is he the kind of guy who would be like, I'm declaring myself potential Lord of the Twins, so I want to be the Lord of the Twins and screw everyone else?" And it's like, yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Maybe I characterized him poorly, but the idea I was getting at is that he's more like a Lannister puppet. Maybe I should have clarified that. That, Jenna and other Lannisters might be like, this is the chance to have better control over the Riverlands, is to, Blackwater can fuck off. Walton Frey, supported by the Vale, who, have their own games, they can fuck off. No, we want a Lannister Frey branch in power, because that means we have better control over the Riverlands, more centralisation. So Aemon's more of a puppet than like a prime mover, but he is still super... up for being Lord Paramount. See, I like that. I like that he's not just a full-on dick. He's not like, oh, I'm going to be a tyrant. He's like, no, I'll be a just lord indeed. A good man. No River Lord would respect Aemon. That's so funny. This was, in my previous video, I brought up the Aemon pneumonia theory. So this theory, the Civil War, is contingent on Aemon Frey not developing pneumonia like President Henry, Henry William Harrison or whatever. If you don't know that, look at my previous live stream. Anyway, so yes, Aemon might push for the twins, and even if he doesn't push for the twins, he might push for Darry. He might be like, okay, well, I have 2 grandsons. My son is dead. His 2 sons are alive, Tywin and Willem. Tywin is the heir to the twins. Willem should be the heir to Darry, because he is the only descendant... because he is a son of Jane Darry, who is the eldest Darry daughter. So Jane Darry is, by all rights, essentially like the rightful lady of Darry, because all the male line of Darry is extinct, but of course the Lannisters gave Darry to Lancel Lannister. But Jane Darry is like, well, technically I'm the lady of Darry, and if it can't be me, my son Willem should be the Lord of Darry, because we don't want Tywin to be Lord of Riverrun and Darry. Let's split it. Eldest son, Lord of Riverrun, younger son, Lord of Darry. But Jane Darry has a younger sister, Maria Darry, and that's who... Wait, no. Am I getting confused with who's older and who's younger? Yes, no, sorry. I think Mary is the older one and Jane's the younger one? I can't remember. Anyway, excuse me. Anyway, Maria Darry marries Merritt Frey. Excuse me. And they have a bunch of kids, and Little Walder is dead in the north, which means the eldest, the next in line, is Gatehouse Amy. So Gatehouse Amy marries Lancel Lannister because they're like, well, we've made Lancel the Lord of Darry, but let's get him some legitimacy by making him marry a half Darry, Gatehouse Amy. But then, nofap. He embraces nofap. He abandons Darry, joins the Faith of the Seven, etc., etc. The amount of times I've animated Lancel abandoning Amy in all my fucking videos. I've done it like 3 videos in a row. Anyway, so Gatehouse Amy is like, okay, well now I've been divorced, basically. Well, it's been annulled because it was never consummated. It's been dissolved almost. And the Freys aren't happy because the Freys are like, wait, hold on. Lannisters, Robb Stark broke a marriage vow, and now you've just broken a marriage vow because this guy's fucked off and joined the Faith. fuck you, Lannisters. Why would you do this to us? So they're pissed off. Like, she's described as crying. The men around her have hard faces. They're really annoyed. So she might just be like, screw it. I don't need to marry Lancel to be to be Lady of Darry. I'm already Lady of Darry because my mother is a Darry and my brother's dead, so I am next in line to Darry. Screw you. So then you have Jane and Maria Darry, the Darry sisters, being like, well, we each want our children to inherit Darry, so there's a bit of a crisis here. Amy is already there. She's cemented her power there. She's invited the Crackle Freys to her, so that's Arwood Frey, that's Danwell Frey, her sister Marissa, probably a bunch more. Preston's got a good breakdown of who exactly could be with her, but she has all the buff, thick, burly Crackle Freys with her, so they are holding Darry. She's probably going to declare herself Lady of Darry. Meanwhile, Emmon is like, no, Emmon and Jenna are like, well, actually, our grandson Willem should be the Lord of Darry, because, you know, his mother's also a Darry, and then the Crackle Freys will be even more pissed off for the Lannisters. Not only did you dissolve the marriage, and now you're coming over and saying, oh no, a new Lord of Darry, and it's going to be some Frey Lannister guy. Like, no, we're not having it. So, I haven't described this section in the most eloquent way, I do admit. I've been rambling a little bit. I apologise. But yes, long story short, Emmon wants the twins because he might just be like, fuck Blackwater and fuck Wharton. I have Lannister backing, I'm powerful. But that's him just being a puppet of the Lannisters, potentially foreshadowed by him thinking he's Lord Paramount. Then you have his grandson Willem, who is half Darry, who him and Jenna might want him to be Lord of Darry, but the true Lady of Darry will be Amy, because she's half Darry and she's annoyed at being screwed over by Lancel dissolving the marriage. So she'll be like, I'm Lady of Darry anyway. Darry succession crisis. Boom. It's way more difficult explaining this when I don't have like family trees and charts and stuff. This live stream was a mistake. Anyway, yeah. So in terms of sigils here, I did consider a couple things. So first off, I thought about having quartered, like the Frey Lannister sigil quartered for Team Emmon. Because of course, if they have Lannister backing, they want to show that off in their sigil. However, the quartered Frey Lannister sigil was the coat of arms of Cleos Frey, and I kind of wanted to leave that for Cleos. So I was like, what else can I do? Could I do like the previous one where I have the Waynwood wheel above the Frey castle? But I thought I've already done that, so I don't necessarily want like a lion on top of a castle or a lion under a castle, because that could be messy. So instead I thought, let's take the Lannister colours and apply it to the Frey sigil. So golden castle on red. Meanwhile, on the right, I put Arwood Frey in the background of this picture because I wanted to show off my little... I didn't have any quartered sigils yet. I was like, hold on, we're missing out quartered sigils. So I went with top right, bottom left, the Frey sigil, top left, the Darry sigil, bottom right, the Crackle sigil. So it's a proper, like, we're the Crackle Freys of Darry. Boom. That's displayed on that coat of arms. So having gone through them, I do think I like Blackwater's the best. I like the black castle on silver. That's quite cool. But yes, this is something that I add to Preston's theory. So I added Blackwater staying alive and the twins being split into two. And then I also added Rosby's involvement. Now, in the books, it is explicitly mentioned that Gatehouse Amy has a half-uncle with her at Darry, which is really weird, because like it makes sense for her to have the Crackle phrase, because the branches are kind of forming their own power bases at this point, and, you know, powder keg when Lord Walder passes away, goes from being the metaphorical late Lord Walder to the literal late Lord. But like, why would Gatehouse Amy have a half uncle with her? Who could that be? And Preston's got a great bit in his video where he breaks down who it doesn't make sense to be, and then he arrives at the conclusion of half uncle. It could be Oliver, right? Not Perwyn, because Perwyn's currently a Riverrun, but it could be Oliver, who kicked out the twins because he didn't take part in the Red Wedding. The Crackle phrase were like, nah, you can join us, come on. And they could be scheming in terms of, hey, let's team up, let's work together. You get to keep and hold Darry, and in return, you help me put Roslyn in charge of Riverrun, because of course he's married to Edmure, so we restore the Tullys. And I did explain that in the video, but I also said let's go a bit further. So it's not just that Olyvar is in Darry, but let's say that Olyvar has become Lord of Rosby, and like we have a new power base in Rosby, which is based on the theory that Olyvar Frey is the Rosby ward. So, which I'm not convinced by the way. So the idea here is, thanks for the super chats by the way. I'll read them in a second. But the idea behind this is that you have Castle Rosby. It's ruled over by the ailing Lord Giles Rosby. He's coughing blood into a handkerchief. He's dying. He dies in Feast for Crows. He doesn't have any children. He doesn't have a named heir, and so that creates a succession crisis. I think there are like 6 candidates according to Pycelle, but none of them are named given to the reader. But he has a ward, a mysterious ward whose name is never mentioned, a rambunctious ward, and apparently the ward is one of the potential claimants, or that Giles Rosby may have named the ward as his successor or something. So there are theories that it could be Olyvar Frey who's the ward, because he's part Rosby. He's been kicked out the twins for not, being a good boy, not taking part of the Red Wedding, liking Robb Stark, etc. So they're like, you go and live with your sickly relative, uncle, cousin, whatever. And then maybe Giles Rosby liked him so much that he's like, oh, I'd like you to be the heir. And so we could have him claiming the lordship of the twins. Sorry, the lordship of Rosby, and being like, I am now Lord Rosby, and I'm going to help the Darrys, and I'm also going to help Walton Frey during that bit of the Civil War, because of course it all links to the Vale. We'll get to the Vale soon where everything's explained. But for the Frey Rosby faction, what I did was, instead of taking the Rosby colours and applying them to the Frey sigil, instead I took the Frey colours and I applied them to the Rosby sigil. So in Rosby it's 3 red chevronels, which are like downward pointing arrows, 3 red chevronels on ermine, which is the specific black pattern on white. So instead I put 3 blue chevronels. I don't have it in this picture actually, but yeah. And so the idea here is that the Civil War expands. We've got the Rosby Freys who want Roslyn and Edmure to take over Riverrun. We have the Craighall Freys who want to hold on to Darry. And we have Walton Frey who wants to take the twins. What do they all have in common? They all have links to either House Tully or House Waynwood in the Vale. And of course Sanders in the Vale and Littlefinger's in the Vale. So it all comes together. We're going to have a bunch of factions that potentially have support from the Vale, leading to a Vale invasion. And on the other side of that, we have Aemon supported by Lannisters, but the Lannisters are kind of overstretched and crumbling, and it probably won't end well for him. And Blackwater probably doesn't have much support anyway. Yeah. In fact, if I'm being honest, adding Blackwater just turns this Civil War from everyone versus Aemon Frey and Riverrun into throwing in another wild card. Blackwater the wild card. That blonde Frey got some big milkers. Listen here, sir. That is not a Frey. That's Jenna Lannister. That is the wife of Aemon Frey, who is a sort of curvaceous Lannister MILF. There's no better way to explain it. Has a fun dynamic. Of course, she's very fierce and confident, and Aemon Frey is a bit of a weakling, so they're quite a fun couple. Okay, before we move on to talking about the crux of this theory, which is the Vale invasion, how it all ties together, I'm going to check out the super chats and just have a read through the chat, because I don't want this whole stream to be me just regurgitating my video that you've already watched. The great thing about the Red Wedding live stream is that while I was regurgitating stuff, I was like coming up with new ideas I hadn't thought of before, such as Lemoncloak burning one side of his face to look more like the Hound, and like seeing it as some kind of maybe religious passage, like rite of passage, or ritual, because maybe he's converted to Lord of Light. But yes, let's check out some super chats. Thank you for the super chat from Merlin, the one and only Merlin. Merry Codmas. Well, Merry Codmas to you, Merlin. I will do a House Cod video one day, 30 seconds long, every COD explained. I'll do it for you. Thank you for the super chat from Angel Brightflame, who says, happy holidays, dude, love your art. Hi from Latin America. Hi from Latam. What's that flag? I'm an idiot. I don't know what flag you've sent in that super chat. I'm too dumb to know stuff like that. Hold on a second. I can look this up. No, I'm done. Wait, no, I can solve this. What is it? It's yellow, blue, and red. Wait. What's the symbol? What's that symbol? I see that symbol. It's a thing. It's Ecuador. That's the Ecuador flag. That's the Ecuador flag. Right. Sorry for that tangent, everyone. Yes. Shout out to Latin America. Shout out to Ecuador. You know what? It's. I've almost got used to it, but when you first become a YouTuber and live streaming and stuff, and you have people being like, "Hello from random part of the country or just random part of the world," you're like, "God damn!" Like the idea of people in another country sitting down and watching my stuff is surreal. It's I almost don't believe it. You know, it's not super impactful for me because I'm just like, it doesn't feel real. Like really, someone other side of the world is watching this shit, but it's quite flattering. Anyway, yes, thank you so much. Thank you for the super chat from Aaron Floyd, who says, the second Red Wedding is actually between two Frey factions after Lord Walder's death. The Brotherhood is responsible, but each Frey faction blames the other, which causes the Frey Civil War. Ah, interesting. So, okay. Wait, so are we saying here that the second Red Wedding is two Frey factions fighting each other? So, for example, Walder Frey dies. Let's say that the Lannister Freys host a wedding. The whole Davin Lannister and a Frey, they host a wedding. And then a faction opposed to them, like the Crackhall Freys, massacre them in a second Red Wedding. Or are you saying that the Brotherhood commit the Red Wedding too, which I've talked about before, but then each of the Frey factions in this civil war blame each other, okay? Yeah. Are you saying the former or the latter? Because here's the thing, the former, I don't think another Frey branch is going to do a Red Wedding on another Frey branch. Like, that would be a bit... I'm not sure about that. But let's say it is the messy Brotherhood massacre against a branch of Freys. The Freys could step back, and whether they believe it or whether it's for political reasons, they could be like, hold on. Emmon and a bunch of Riverrun Freys just got massacred. That was Blackwater. Blackwater did that, and Blackwater could be like, no, it wasn't me, that was Walton. And Walton's like, it wasn't me, it was the Crackhall Freys. And that just like... You know, oh yeah, the Brotherhood did it, I'm sure, but like they got help. Blackwater helped them or something, and then it's like, it could help spark the Civil War or keep it alive or keep it alight or tear the factions further away from each other and so on. Yeah, I didn't talk about the Red Wedding in my video because I'd already done that, and but there's a lot of, you know, the Red Wedding could like happen before the Civil War. It could trigger the Civil War with certain death, with Walder Frey's death. It could happen during the war, like you've said. Probably won't happen after, but yeah. I don't know. Who's frayed out? I'm frayed out. My brain's frayed right now. It was funny. I got some weird comments on my video, like a load of mostly supportive comments. Everyone being like, "Oh, another Frey video," or "Happy Christmas," whatever. And then get some people being like, "Dude, we get it. Enough of the Freys already." I was like, "Jesus, all right, calm down. I'm doing this for free, bro. You don't have to watch." Maria is the older sister. Thank you, Crossfire. Yes, Maria is the older sister. Yeah, so Gatehouse Amy has the best claim. Gatehouse Amy is basically, in terms of blood, is the heir to Darry, if we skip over Maria. Oh, no. It is the heir to Darry, but Maria Darry won't assert herself as Lady of Darry, because House Darry's kind of disgraced. So Gatehouse Amy is essentially Lady of Darry. Is Walton one of the sexy Freys, someone asks. See, here's the thing. Walton... Let me go back to Walton, if Canva will let me. Walton, we don't know if he's a sexy Frey, because we don't know anything about him. That's what's weird about the Frey Civil War, is that we don't know anything. Walton Frey should have a massive role to play, because you have an heir, right, Edwin, you have the heir to the twins, and you have a younger brother. They hate each other. That's super chaotic. So you're like, who's next in line? Two brothers hate each other. They're both the heirs. Who's going to win? Who comes after them? The person who comes after them should be very important, right? But the person who comes after them is Peter Pimple, who's dead. Okay. Then we have Jingle Bell, who's dead. And then we have Walton Frey. And we don't know who Walton Frey is. He's just a random guy. And it's like, if we're going to do Frey Civil War, shouldn't we have seeded in this Walton Frey guy way earlier? So, yeah, because all we know is that he's the son of a Waynwood, he's married to a Harding, and he has 3 children, one of whom is called Stefan the Sweet, the other of whom is called Fairwater. We know Fairwater is very, very attractive. Stefan the Sweet, that nickname, could be about his personality. It could also be that he's like a good-looking guy. So, but the Harding, we know one Harding, and that is Harold Harding, who is attractive. So I think the implication is Walton Frey married an attractive woman from House Harding, and that's why the kids are all attractive. So it's interesting how Gurm thinks about that stuff. But the fact that Walton hasn't been introduced yet, that could just be excuse me, that could just be a gardener thing, right? That could be because he's always gardening. That he, like, if he had planned a Frey Civil War from scratch, George might have like seeded in Walton Frey earlier, knowing what role he would play. But because he's a gardener, maybe he's just looking at a family tree that he's made. He's going through everything. He's like, wait a second. If this person dies, then this person takes over, and then that person is linked to this house who could help them in a Vale. Where and he's like piecing it together as he works. He's gardening as opposed to planning it in advance. But it does mean that we haven't met Walton, and Walton should play a big role in even if there is no Frey Civil War, Walton plays a big role in the succession because we have Walder Frey, like ignoring the great-granddaughters who may be bastards. We have Lord Walder Frey, Edwin Frey, Black Walder, then Walton. Realistically speaking, Walton is third in line to the twins. So we kind of need to know about him. Now, one of my patrons, Boombler, actually brought up a really good idea in the Patreon Discord, which led to me putting it in the video, right? When I have a Patreon Discord, I actually chat. It's not just like, I'm not like hands off. I like to engage with the patrons. And Boombler told me, hey, maybe Walton is in the Vale. If he's married to a Harding and he's half Waynwood, maybe he's just chilling in the Vale with his sons, and then his daughter Fairwater is at the twins. And we're going to meet Walton in the Vale via a Sansa chapter. And I thought, okay, that's interesting. So I do mention that in the video. That could be why we haven't... That's an excuse for why we haven't met him. And it's also an excuse for having a Frey who didn't take part in the Red Wedding, who Sansa might be more likely to support taking over the twins, or that, maybe the other River Lords might be more in favour of taking over the twins, like someone who wasn't part of the Red Wedding. So Walton being in a Vale is a nice theory. I like that a lot, actually. The slideshow didn't go back to Walton, did it? It just... No. Okay, now it has. All right, now that I've finished talking about him, it's gone back. For what it's worth, in terms of the character design, the Waynwoods... one Waynwood is described as having a horse-like face, so because Walton is half Waynwood, I gave him the very long jaw, and then I gave him the grey eyes of his grandmother Pera Royce and his father Stevron, and then I gave him brown Waynwood hair, and I thought I'd give him a moustache because I haven't given any of the Freys moustaches, so I was like, I'll give him a cheeky little something to make him stand out, Oh, something interesting I found in the chat. Someone said it's mentioned the Bastard Walder Rivers is the most dangerous one, and there is of course that line from Davin Lannister saying that he hates himself for being a bastard and hates everyone else and hates everyone who isn't a bastard. So he's just kind of this horrible, spiteful man, and he's quite competent, it seems. He led the attack on the camps during the Red Wedding, bravely cutting down all the drunk Northern and Riverlands troops, of course. But yeah, if he is so dangerous, he's not in a line of succession at all. He's a bastard. So it might be about who he throws his support behind, which is interesting. Now, see, during the Siege of Riverrun, he spends his time with Edwin. And Edwin he even stands in to bodyguard Edwin after Edwin pisses off Mark Piper. So, Clement Piper, sorry. So it's unlikely that he will stick around with Blackwater if he's kind of in Edwin's camp. Maybe I've got the Civil War wrong, though. Maybe the Civil War is Edwin versus Blackwater. Maybe that's another faction, and Bastard Walder is with Edwin. Or maybe Bastard Walder just wants to be in with whoever he thinks is going to be Lord, because he doesn't want to get kicked out for being a bastard, kicked out of his influential position. So maybe Bastard Walder will be like, yeah, I'll side with Blackwater, I'll side with Walton, I'll side with whoever take me because I'm a competent commander and I can help command troops in battle. I should have included Bastard Warder in my video, probably, actually, as like a commander, a useful commander for one of the sides. Okay, we're gonna move on to the Vale now. So we'll wrap up all of the, again, Canva, wait for Canva. We'll wrap up all of the weird threads because it all ties back to the Vale. But I'll look a bit more at the chat though. I need some more water, sorry. Okay, unfortunately, for those who are celebrating Frey Mania and creating Frey playlists and everything, this is the last Frey video. This is going to be the last video of the year, and then in January we're jumping back with some new stuff. Yeah, very busy. I wanted to do a Battle of Ice video in time for Christmas, but that wasn't possible. So, but I have a lot of resources for that, so I could just jump into that in January, honestly. Excuse me. And I want to... Excuse me. I say this every month. I'm like, I gotta branch beyond the Song of Ice and Fire. But I'm definitely going to do some Witcher content next year. I'll do some Witcher content. And maybe some Tolkien, maybe some... Just more fantasy. We got to branch it out. And of course, Duncan Egg coming out next year, so that'll be fun. Bum-ba-dum. It's funny when people tell me they're at work listening to this. Listen to me rambling about nothing. This war could be called Frey's Folly. Ooh, that's cool. Okay. So let's move on to the twins. Let's talk about the twins. Not the twins, sorry. The Vale, my bad. Forgive me. Let's talk about the Vale. So, what links a lot of these factions together is because they have some kind of connection to the Vale. So, first off, Walton, as we've said before, Walton Frey may be living in the Vale. He is half Waynwood and he's married to a Harding. The Waynwoods are powerful vassals of the Arryns and the Hardings are vassals of the Waynwoods. So they could easily be like, hey, help us. House Waynwood, please help us. And so House Waynwood has an incentive to be like, hey, a half Waynwood married to a Harding wants to be Lord of the Twins. That's our extended family. That puts them in a position of power. That helps us. That helps our dynasty, our legacy, our blood. Let's support them. And Littlefinger is like, well, you know what? Installing someone to be Lord of the Twins, and that's a good idea. Okay, so we can help Walton become Lord of the Twins, and we can also help Roslyn become Lady of Riverrun, and we can help Edmure become Lady of Riverrun. So we have Walton, put him in charge of the twins, put Edmure and Roslyn in charge of Riverrun. The Riverlords will love me. Maybe they will accept me as the Lord Paramount, because at the moment he's Lord Paramount on paper. No, he doesn't even live at Harrenhal. But if he's able to help out, hey, look, I've punished all the Red Wedding Freys. Trust me, bro. Walton is in charge of the twins. Hey, no evil Blackwater. Oh, the Lannisters and Riverrun. Don't worry, we've kicked them out, and we've got Roslyn and the Tullys back. Hooray! I'm now your Lord Paramount. Love me. And then he'll have control over the Vale and the Riverlands, right? And of course, I almost forgot to mention, the Waynwoods also have reason to support... Well, they have reason to support Walton taking over the twins, and they have reason to support Gatehouse Amy consolidating control of Darry, because guess what? In the Craighall branch, we have some Waynwood Freys. Again, we have Jeremy Frey, rest in peace. He drowned. He was married to Caroline Waynwood. They had 2 children, Sandor and Cynthia. The fact I know that is incredibly sad. Another thing I'm going to do next year, go out more, touch grass. Anyway, Sandor Frey is a squire to Sir Donald Waynwood, who's currently the Knight of the Bloody Gate, and Cynthia Frey is a ward of Anya Waynwood. So they literally live in the Vale. So they're like, oh, cool, Craighill branch, we're going to help you as well, right? Give Sandor and Cynthia important roles in Darry, help them out. So we have a Waynwood taking over the twins, a Waynwood that's part of a branch that's taking over Darry, cool. And of course we want the Tullys to take over Riverrun once again, so we're going to help the Rosby Frey branch. So their enemies are Blackwater and the Lannister Freys, Emmon and Jenna. Now, and then I get so the Waynwoods have an incentive, Littlefinger has an incentive, but the Lord Paramount has to push for it. So if that's Sweet Robin on the left, if that's Lord Robert Arryn, the excuse is, well, his uncle is Edmure Tully, and we want to reinstate Edmure Tully as Lord of Riverrun because that's his uncle, and we're going to support them, and we're uniting the Vale and the Riverlands against the corrupt Lannister regime, and Littlefinger gets to be in power of both. Or, as Littlefinger tells Sansa, because people... Well, okay, as Littlefinger tells Sansa, Sweet Robin will die, because he's probably going to poison him, and then Harold Harding will become the new Lord Paramount. Harry the heir, right? He's the heir, distant cousin. He'll probably rename himself Harold Arryn for legitimacy. And boom, he'll marry Elaine Stone, only she's not Elaine Stone, she is Sansa Stark. And then you have Harold Harding, the Vale and the North united. Sansa, the rightful Lady of Winterfell. Harry, the rightful Lord of the Eyrie. And let's install Edmure to be the rightful Lord of Riverrun, because in this scenario, it won't be because Edmure is Sweet Robin's uncle, it will be because Edmure is the uncle of Harry the Heir's wife, Sansa Stark, right? I know it's getting messy, I don't have cool diagrams to show you. Yeah, and of course, Harold Harding being a Harding, he's got that connection to Walton, wanting Walton to help take over the twins, etc. So it all, basically, Waynwood, Hardings and Arryns linking in, and Tullys all linked together in this big mess. It makes sense in my head, I don't know if it makes sense saying out loud, but... yeah, then they will sweep, the idea is that they'll sweep through the Riverlands, cast down the evil Blackwater, pin the Red Wedding on him, maybe, cast out the Lannister Freys, Lannisters suck. Who do we have? Boom, we have the Tullys back in charge of Riverrun. We have Walton Frey, who, if he lives in the Vale, he didn't take part in the Red Wedding, so maybe the Riverlords will accept him taking over the twins, and he'll be a Waynwood ally. Boom, Darry, we have some Waynwood Craighill Freys. They are also Waynwood ally. And the Rosby Freys are allies with the Tullys, so they're another ally. We're all working together. And even if the Riverlords turn around and say, hold on a second, yeah, we're happy that you've helped us, but we want Edmure Tully to be our Lord Paramount, okay? We're happy to be allies with the Vale. We're happy that you've installed certain puppets in place. We're happy that Edmure's come back. But, we want Edmure Tully to be the Lord Paramount of the Trident, not Baelish. We're grateful, but we don't want you. And your authority derives from the Crown, who we're probably going to rebel against. They're not going to be loyal to the Lannisters. In which case, Littlefinger can be like, that's really interesting, except I hold all the fucking grain. So if the war-torn Riverlands want some grain, do what I say. So it might just come down to grain. Resources. Yes. Now, we move on to the next question, the big question, which is, who's going to win this messy, chaotic civil war? So, yeah, let me know in the chat, who do you think's going to win the civil war? I've already described it, right? I think for Littlefinger, Harry the Heir, Sansa, etc., that triumvirate to succeed, it makes sense that Blackwater gets cast down and the Lannister Freys are obviously getting kicked out of Riverrun. So I think the end point is Team Walton, Team Craighill, Team Rosby are the Freys on top, and the rest get wiped out. And even the ones that win could get wiped out during the course of it during the fighting, or being hanged by the Brotherhood, or eaten by Nymeria and her wolf pack. So no one is safe. But yeah, that's if this happens. Again, I think something of a... Because he's a gardener, it's hard to know how much is, having Walton Frey, who's close to the line of succession, married to a Waynwood, and married to son of a Waynwood, married to a Harding, is that could genuinely just be a coincidence. That could be that George just wrote up the family tree and was having fun and didn't think. Like, it's hard to know what's being planned and what's just us reading into plants that have sprouted out that George wasn't planning, right? We don't know. The Red Wedding, I gave that I think Red Wedding I've settled on, like, second Red Wedding, I'm like, 55 not gonna happen, 45 is gonna happen, which I know is a pussy way out because it's so close, but, like, I'm not super confident about that one. With the Frey Civil War, though, I think I'm even less confident. I think I love the idea, and it would be awesome. It won't go down the way I've said it will go down, and it probably won't go down exactly how Preston says it will go down, but something similar in terms of different branches fighting each other probably will happen. In terms of my specific Frey Civil War, how I've explained it, probably like, I don't know, 30% chance it happens. In terms of the general concept of a Frey Civil War, I'd say that's going to be close to 100%. It just makes so much sense for the phrase. But I don't know. Damn, I did rush this live stream. This is the least rambly I've been, the least distracted I've been. Thank you for the... Oh, whoa, we got some super chats. Let's check them out. Thank you for the super chat from Shantanu David. Thank you so much. I'm not sure what currency that is. That looks cool though. The number's big, but I don't know what the currency is. So but thank you so much. That's really kind of you. If you had to do another family to detail, who'd you do it to? Not to sound inappropriate. As in, wait, what? Wait, you're saying? Wait, if you had to do another family to such detail... Okay, you're asking me which family would I go into as much detail as I did with House Frey. When you're saying who'd you do it to, not to sound... When you say not to sound inappropriate at the end, it makes everything you've said before sound weirdly sexual. So I was like, what are you asking me? I was like, wait, what? Yeah, so I've done some house histories before, right? So I did a history of House Frey back in the day, and I've done history of House Royce, history of House Umber, history of House Manderley. I've done some fun stuff, history of House Bolton. But if you mean in this detail, like every Frey explained detail, it would have to be a house that's large enough to warrant that. So the only other house I can think of that is known for being quite large would probably be the Lannisters. So maybe every Lannister explained, where I go through all of the aunts and uncles and cousins and maybe the historical Lannisters as well. But the question is, see, the difference between my history of House Frey video and my Every Frey Explained video is that the house history was a breakdown of its history. Every Frey was, I'm going to detail all of them, right? With the Lannisters, I could probably get away with detailing all of them in a house history video anyway. I'm not sure if I'd need to do Every Frey Explained, or whether I'd just be repeating myself too much. But yes, in terms of, if you mean detail in terms of doing a bunch of videos, in terms of like all the different theories surrounding them, that would be for the big one. So Starks, Lannisters, the big boys, because there are so many theories around them. But I haven't done, the biggest house I've done in terms of power has been the Tyrells, because there's not loads to say about the Tyrells, so I made that into a fun little collab video with Quinn. Whereas House Stark, House Lannister... Oh, and I've done House Arryn. But in terms of House Stark and Lannister, and, like, it's such a deep, rich, large history that, like, I want to brace myself for it, right? I want to, like, save that for a special occasion. Thank you for the super chat from Olbing Elias. Sorry, I need another drink. My throat is... I'm an ill boy when Christmas comes around. It's very annoying. Some lovely water there. Okay, Olbing Elias. Thank you so much. They say, there could be another faction in the Civil War. If Stannis loses, Roose Bolton could use his marriage to Fat Walder as a claim to the twins. I'm watching this from my workplace, not much to do now. I hope you're having fun at work. Okay, interesting, yes. I guess, in theory, Roose Bolton could just say, screw it, I'm married to Fat Walder. I want the twins via my wife. However, that I don't think Roose Bolton's going to live long enough for that to happen. I think Roose Bolton's end is fast approaching. I think Stannis will take Winterfell. I don't think he'll end up leaving the North, but I think he will take Winterfell. Roose Bolton's either going to get killed by Stannis or killed by Ramsay. I wouldn't want him to be killed by Ramsay for reasons I've discussed before. I think it would be anticlimactic and would just make Roose come across as a massive idiot, like he did in the show. But yeah, I don't think he's going to live long enough to push a claim to the twins, and it would have to happen after the Freys that are with him have all died in battle, because otherwise they would be like, no, of course we're not going to support your claim. And it's like, I don't know, is this them declaring some sort of independence, or who are they? Because who's in charge of the twins? If they rebel against whoever's in charge of the twins, at this point they're kind of rebelling against who that Lord's monarch is, right? So if there's if there's a Lord of the Twins who swears fealty to Tommen Baratheon, if Roose Bolton were to be like, I now want the twins via Fat Walder, then the crown, the Lannister Baratheon crown, is going to see that essentially as a rebellion against them, because they're not respecting their authority in the Riverlands, because it's all chaos and they're trying to get their control. So I don't think Roose Bolton has any motivation to open up a new front in a civil war and try to claim the twins. I don't think there's no reason for that beyond protecting the North by having like a buffer zone beyond the neck, I guess. But yeah, I don't think he will, but it's a really interesting idea. But no, I think Roose Bolton's screwed and Fat Walder's probably screwed. Like, I think the Northmen might get their revenge on the Freys by killing Fat Walder perhaps, or maybe Ramsay will have his way with her, I'm not sure. Thank you for the super chat from 6demonbag17, who says, just sending some love. Would be cool to see a B-list character ranking sometime. Lothar Brune S tier. I love that idea, actually. A B-list ranking. Not even B-list, because like the thing with the Song of Ice, A-list is like the POV characters, and B-list are like big characters you love, but they're not POV, like the Hound, right? I think you're talking about like D-list. There should be like D-list celebrities. There should be like D-list of Song of Ice and Fire characters who are like Lothar Brune, Dick Crab, the Kettle Black brothers. You know what I mean? The Shitmouth from the Mountains Men. Yeah, no, that sounds like a really fun idea. Actually, I like that. I like that one a lot. Thank you for the super chat from Unread Cabbage, who says, "Have you talked about how Big Walder may factor in?" No, I haven't. Okay. So, right. So for those who don't remember, Big Walder, he's 50-something down the line of succession. That's if you include women. If you don't include women, he's still absurdly far down the line of succession, because there aren't many female Freys. Walder Frey doesn't like femoids sprouting from his loins, apparently. Anyway, so Big Walder, but he's super confident. He's got that optimism. He's got that grind set. He's like, no, I will be Lord. I will be Lord of the Twins. He's like manifesting it. He gets up every morning and he writes in a notepad, I am happy. I will be a millionaire. I will be Lord of the Twins. He is manifesting. And so if he is manifesting it that much and talking about it, it's clearly, I mean, it could just be a character quirk. Like, he wants to be the Lord of the Twins, but he's far down the line of succession. Isn't that kind of funny? But it could be foreshadowing for something. And I've said this before. There are 3 potential ways I think Big Walder could become Lord of the Twins. One is every single Frey in front of him dies. Every male, let's say male Frey. Every male Frey dies. A Frey Civil War, combined with outlaw murders and wolves and so on, could wipe out every single male Frey and put Big Walder in the Twins, but that's kind of unlikely. Like, as deadly as a civil war would be, you're telling me every single Frey's gonna die, including the kids and the babies? Like, all of them? Kind of unrealistic. That is a loud plane. God damn. More prisoners coming in. Stop doing terrorism at Christmas. God damn it. Don't worry, guys. I don't live in a Guantanamo Bay cell. I'm in a boat that like sails around the bay. It's like a pirate radio station. They haven't caught me yet. Anyway, what was I talking about? Yes, another way Big Walder could become Lord of the Twins is Stannis names him Lord of the Twins. Basically, like, you can be my puppet. When I start invading southwards, I will install you. Because Big Walder's in the north, maybe he'll switch sides. So that way he gets to be Lord of the Twins, like, in name, and that's like a cute nod. But Stannis ain't leaving the North, so that won't go anywhere. And that doesn't really lead into a Frey Civil War. It doesn't connect to the Frey Civil War. But the third option is that he marries Edwin Frey's daughter, Walda Frey. Walda, I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce it. Walda Frey. Wilder. In the show, in the TV show, they differentiate it by saying Walder for the men and Wilder for the women. Wilder. Anyway, he will marry Edwin's daughter, and then Edwin's daughter will technically be the Lady of the Twins, and then Big Walder will be the Lord of the Twins. But again, he can do that because that's like a distant cousin or a distant whatever, something cousin, something times removed. But the rest of the phrase would have to acknowledge that she is the rightful Lady of the Twins, and the Civil War scenario is kind of based on people like stepping over her and ignoring her, if not outright assassinating her. So Big Walder, I'm not sure if we can have Lord Big Walder and Frey Civil War in the same timeline. I'm not sure if we can do that. Okay, thank you for the super chat from Wibbs Games, who says Walton Frey equals Steelshanks Walton. Now that is a theory I haven't heard before. No. Definitely not. Well, who knows, maybe. Maybe Walton Frey maybe he's a knight in service of the Boltons for some reason. No, I think the fact he's called Steelshanks Walton kind of implies he's not of noble heritage. Like, he's got a nickname, and no one, from what I remember, no one necessarily talks to him respectfully or like addresses him as a being part of nobility. I think he's just like a Bolton captain. But I don't know, maybe Walton Frey is at the Dreadfort. That would be kind of random, but there we go. Wait, hold on. Steelshanks Walton is a Bolton soldier, right? I'm not going crazy. I'm not getting things mixed up with like the show. Yeah, he is, isn't he? Thank you for the super chat from James Ryan, who says, hope you have a great holiday. I hope you have a great holiday too. That's a very American, isn't it? Great holiday. Happy holidays. That's very American. Do you have any concerns about the Night of the Seven Kingdoms show? What changes would really bother you? Gotta say, much more nervous after Hot D Season 2. Great question. I'm very excited to be doing Night of the Seven Kingdom content with Quinn. I think, was it summer next year? Right? They've delayed. It was meant to be early next year. They've delayed it to summer, maybe fall of next year. Fall, another American thing. Fall. Autumn. We say autumn. Thank you very much. In Britain. So I mean Guantanamo Bay. Do I have concerns? My main concern is that it's so long. Like 6 episodes. It seems like a long time to do a novella. If it was 3 episodes, I'd be like, yeah, I can see how that paces out, right? But with 6, I'm worried about filler. I'm worried about fluff. I'm worried about, like, dragging our feet. But again, that time could also be spent on doing things that the original novella wasn't able to do, like maybe introducing Bloodraven early, maybe introducing Shara Seastar, maybe talking about the Blackfire Rebellions, because if you remember, the first Duncan Egg book never mentions the Blackfire Rebellions, because Gurm hadn't come up with it yet. Then the second novella, The Sworn Sword, suddenly everyone's talking about it, and it's like, whoa, where did this come from? Because he'd come up with it by then. So, yeah, I'm worried that 6 episodes might be a bit too much, and I don't want filler, but I don't want it to be super slow, but I don't know, man. I think a lower budget, fun little, I think it could be good. I do have optimism. George hasn't necessarily spoken out against it, but knowing him, he might do, because he who knows. What changes would bother me? I'd say just any major changes. Like, it's not complex enough of a story that you need to change anything. Like, sometimes adaptations need changes, unfortunately, but I can't think of anything that needs a change. Like, it's such a simple but fun story. It's simple and intricate at the same time. Like, but just keep it as is. Keep it as is, you know? Like, I don't know. And the casting seems pretty fun so far. I'm a bit, like, the casting for Lionel Baratheon is just a complete chad. Like, it's quite funny. I'm a bit confused as to why Baelor Targaryen is just like a white dude and not a Dornish looking guy. That's kind of confusing, but yeah, the casting for the most part looks great, and the head writer is I can't remember his name. Ty something. The head writer was a writer on season 1 of Hot D. He wrote episode 4, which is it's a good episode. It's not the best, it's a good episode. So I think they're in good hands. You know, George seemed involved with it. Yeah, I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic because the main issue with Hot D season 2 was, well, the main two reasons were A, writer strike, and then B, being forced to cut off the last 2 episodes. Where 97 Kingdoms doesn't have that issue. It kept, it was being written after the writer strike, right? Before and after, I believe. And from what I understand, they're not being forced to cut or change anything. They're making, I don't know. If anything, it's the reverse issue. Like I said, maybe they're making too many episodes, but we'll see. Someone responded to that super chat saying, I heard something about Valar being removed. That would be a shame. I haven't heard that. That would feel a bit pointless. Well, it depends what you mean removed, as in removed from the canon, or just not in the show, like, because there are too many Targaryens and they don't want to confuse people. I don't know, yeah, I'd like to see Valar. He's not in it much, he just does a joust, and then everyone's like, oh, it's the heir's son, I don't know. Anyway, I'm an optimist at heart. I'll remain optimistic about Knights of the Seven Kingdoms. But either way, I will be here live streaming and doing reviews with Quinn, because that'll be awesome. Another super chat from Shantanu David. Thanks so much. Who says, it was just a joke about the incestuousness of the phrase, bud. He hit me with bud. Wait, hold on. What did he say again? If you had to do another family to such detail, who'd you do it to? I don't quite understand that. Anyway, appreciation of your work, of course. Thanks. Weird how the twins have allied with the Lannisters, hey? Oh right, yeah. There's a streak of incestuousness among House Frey for sure. But that's only manifest in Blackwater. The Blackwater sleeps with his brother's wives and maybe his grandfather's, no, Walder Frey's great-grandfather's wives, or one of them at least, Anara Faring, and allegedly his cousins like Gatehouse Amy and Fairwalder. So there's a bit of incestuousness. It's not like one giant orgy all the time where all the Freys are being incesty with each other. But then you can say about the Lannisters, that's not big and incestuous. That's mostly just Jaime and Cersei. But because of that, they get a reputation for being the incest family. But yeah. Man, I love the phrase. I cannot stress how much I love the phrase. Like, okay, Valar's been rendered non-canon. Is that Valar and Mataris? Because it's not like they do much. They just exist to. They are just Baelor's sons, and then they die in the Great Spring Sickness. So it will just kind of. Them being removed means that. Actually, I'm not gonna throw any spoilers out. Actually, necessarily, not everyone will know the story. But them being moved, it doesn't change the succession in the long term. It just, yeah, it's not they're not super necessary. But it's also like, why remove them in the first place? Do you need them to? But there we go. Irish dunk supremacy. Yes, it's cool. They cast an Irish actor, an Irish rugby player, to play dunk, and in that little teaser, it sounds like he's keeping the accent, which is really, really cool. Our second Irish accent in the Game of Thrones universe. Excuse me, correct me if I'm wrong. But I think the first Irish accent is the first actor for Rickard Karstark in season 1 of Game of Thrones. He stands up, he's like, what was it? They can keep their iron chairs too, or something. And then they recast him in season 2 and 3. But yes, we had weird temporary Irish Rickard Karstark in season 1, and now we have Duncan the Tall. So Irish representation at last. We've had Irish actors in the show, but not necessarily the Irish accent. So am I missing anyone? Are there any other Irish sounding characters in the Game of Thrones show? I don't think so. In fact, Hot D was our first ever Scottish characters. Lyman Beesbury and Harold Westling are the only Scottish accents we've heard in Game of Thrones, which I think is a missed opportunity because the wildlings are so obviously meant to have Scottish accents. Come on. Like, the ones to the south, Scottish. The further north you go, Scandi. That's the vibe. Oh, Shanja. Shanja. Yes, Littlefinger. Okay, Littlefinger did kind of become Irish. Littlefinger went from, like, smarmy English accent in season 1, and then he bounced around to, like, Welsh, Irish, Batman, and then he kind of became a little bit more normal, but, like, he went from, like, I was sliced from throat to navel, or whatever. You know, he was like, Lord Stark, not trusting me was the wisest thing you did since you stepped off your horse. I did warn you not to trust me. He's got this kind of slimy English accent. And then it, like, gets weirder. In season 2, it's like, Harrenhal, I suppose that's off the table as well. And it's like, okay, what are we doing? What are we doing here? And season 3, he's like, Lysa Arryn, I can marry her. And it's like, Batman? What the fuck? And then season 4 where it like peaked into absurdity. I think someone asked Aidan Gillen, the actor, about it, and he basically replied by being like, saying that he's trying to play Baelish as like a pantomime villain, so I get the sense he doesn't fucking watch the show because that's a ridiculous takeaway. But yeah, season 5 he like reeled it back a little bit, but season 4 is like peak where he was like, Shanja, with just really deep growly voice and like just no longer English. Shanja, listen to me. Shanja, don't trust Lysa. It's like, what are you doing, man? Just go back to your old accent. It's like you took the show seriously in season 1 and you've gradually just stopped giving a shit about the show and you're just being goofy. Yeah, I remember that scene where Tyrion is talking to Varys and Littlefinger and Pycelle and feeding them all feeding them different stories to see who the rat is. That's the episode where I remember I was like watching and enjoying it, and I just remember being baffled by Littlefinger's acting because he went from being really good to like Tyrion offers him Harrenhal and like he like dramatically gasps like a teenage girl. He goes like, he opens his mouth like, he like pogs and turns around and he's like, Harrenhal, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, this isn't a theatre production. What are you doing? Like, why are you acting like a pantomime dame? Like, what the fuck's going on? Chaos isn't a pit. Chaos is a ladder. Alright, calm down, bro. Calm down. Never beating the Frey Haven allegations. This is the last piece of Frey content left, okay? We've done Frey December. Frey December is over. It's officially Jova. Next year, we are moving on to brand new stuff. I might do a whole month that's just dedicated to, like, Battle of Ice, Battle of Fire, Battle of Blood, Battle of Steel. I just have, like, a battle arc. Although, yes, see, what I've realised recently, by the way, we'll wrap up the live stream soon, I think. But what I've realised recently is, I need to do more theory videos. Because, this is kind of cynical sounding, but, like, I can do lore videos whenever. Theory videos do have an expiration date. If Winds of Winter releases, there's no point doing theory videos about what's in Winds. Like, there are lots of Winds theories that are... There's a bunch of dumb stuff. But there's enough that's worth, like, making interesting animated content about. So, I kind of should start doing a bunch of theory videos. Because if Winds of Winter comes out... I can still do, like, the history of House whatever, but I'll just include Winds. Or it could be, like, the history of House Frey, part 2, where I include what happens in Winds, etc., etc. But I can't be, like, Battle of Ice theory, because when Winds comes out, I can't talk about that theory anymore. So, yeah. Of course, the other expiration date is, more sadly, if Gun passes away before Winds comes out, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think we'll see Winds. I'm confident. I'm now... I've tossed out all of my blue pills and red pills and black pills, and I'm fully white pilled now. I'm white pilled. We're going to get Winds. Some call it delusion, some call it addiction, but we will get Winds. But yes, anyway, like, realistically speaking, I can't just make a Song of Ice and Fire content forever, because there is a possibility that, sadly, if Gurm passes, then there might be less interest in videos covering his work, unfortunately. And if this is my livelihood, I need to be smart about things. So I will not stop making a Song of Ice and Fire content. There's so much to explore, but I do need to branch out a bit. So next year we are going to see some Witcher content for those who like the Witcher books and games, and maybe want to see me trash the TV show, which fucking sucks, or who want to learn about a new thing. And people have pointed out that I could do some Tolkien. I could do God Hears Ya, because that's like a CK3 mod and it has good lore. Apparently, I could do that. I could do Edge Chronicles, which I read as a kid. That's like a young adult thing. There's so much, a bunch of fantasy I can do. 2025, baby. Hey, maybe I'll move on to, maybe I'll make History Haven, Myth Haven. I'll talk about. See, what's funny? I could do like a bunch of A Song of Ice and Fire content and like accumulate a decent amount of views. And then I could do like History Haven, where I do like a 10-minute video that's like the history of this king, and it's in my style. And because it's history, because it's animated history, it gets like 20 million views, like a fucking oversimplified video. So I'm thinking maybe I should just do like the occasional History Haven video and then regular Fantasy Haven videos, and then add it all up together. Anyway, I am fully rambling. Hold on. Do we have any more questions? Do we have any more? Let me see what's happening in the chat, and then we'll wrap up, I think. There was an Ironborn with Theon who was Scottish, and the Warlock from Karth was too. Was there a Scottish Ironborn in... I don't remember that. The Warlock of... Yes. Pyat Pree in Karth did have a Scottish accent for some reason. That was kind of random. And of course, Alice Rivers has a Scottish accent. I forgot. Flippy, thank you for reminding me. Or an American accent, according to some people who heard Alice Rivers specifically in the episode where she says, "You will die in this place." And some people heard it as American, like heard it as like Valley Girl, and were really confused. There we go. Yeah, I think start kicking off 2025 with like the big Winds of Winter battles. That could be cool. More Dune, yes, yeah. I mean, I did my one video. I was like comparing the first Dune book to Denis Villeneuve's Dune Part 1, and I promised to do more, and I never did more. And that's like 80k views. So considering that has nothing to do with Song of Ice and Fire, it's kind of successful. So I do want to do more Dune. I'm just not super passionate about the universe. It's reading Dune is like doing homework more than like enjoying myself. But Discworld could be fun, yeah, maybe. Memory, Sorrow and Thorn. So Crossfire asked that. Memory, Sorrow, Thorn, one of Gurm's inspirations for Song of Ice and Fire. I am still reading the first book. So last year I started it and I just kind of went off it. And then this year I've jumped back into it, and I'm at like the last act of the first book called The Dragonbone Chair. So I do want to finish that trilogy next year, and then do a video about Memory, Sorrow and Thorn. It probably won't be like a series of videos, because ultimately that won't get many views, but I will probably do one Chungus video that's called something clickbaity, like the story that inspired Game of Thrones or something. And it could be like I could do two videos. I could do one that's like breaking down with the lore and the story of that world, and I can do one which is like directly comparing, because there are some fun comparisons. There is a character who is like a male Melisandre, and there is a red comet in the sky, and there is like a ghost equivalent where there's a big old wolf. There's a character who's kind of Jon Snowy. There's a lot of there are like shocking comparisons to the point where I'm like, what the hell? When I saw there was a red comet in the sky, I like shut the book and I was like, George, did you really take a fantasy book that not many people had read and were like, I'm just gonna fucking steal this. I'm gonna steal this and everyone's gonna give me the credit. Who would watch History Haven here? If I set up a channel that was like not regular, it can't be regular. I can't do fantasy and history regularly. It would be like Fantasy Haven is my main jam, and then History Haven is like once every few months I have like a half-hour history video where I just send it out and I'm like, boom. Who would be interested in History Haven? It would have to be about interesting topics, because it feels like everything's been done to death, honestly. Did you agree with Quinn's POV video? I haven't actually watched it yet. I watched this Cersei one. I haven't watched his latest POV ranking. I have not. Although he told me in DMs that he he thinks Dany chapters in Dance with Dragons are good. And I was like, oh, so you're factually incorrect about something. That's quite interesting. I didn't realise someone could have an incorrect opinion, but he does. If it would be animated, yeah, it would be animated. It would be the same style. It would be me making historical figures with big fucking eyes and having them like bounce around on screen and like, you know, cool backgrounds. That's exactly what I would do. And I could do one where I just go through the English kings. Imagine I have a channel that's just every few months I post a video. What I'm thinking could be fun is if I like regular Fantasy Haven and then occasional History Haven that like blows up, because A Song of Ice and Fire, big audience, still kind of niche. History's not that niche. If I have a high quality history video, I could get like a few million views, and that could be like easy bucks for me to focus on Fantasy Haven more without being worried about money. So that could be cool. I could be a sellout. How about that? History Haven, maybe. So I could be like, you know, I could have a series where I'm just like breaking down every single king, or maybe I should be like every Frey Explained is like every English king explained, where I go through every fucking king from like the Anglo-Saxons to Chuck the Third. Yeah, I could do. The thing is, I'm very well versed in Song of Ice and Fire, and while I do have a history degree, I have a master's in history, don't you know? I know I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to make so many mistakes, and the comments are going to be littered with actually, and I'm going to feel like such a clown. I'm going to be careful. I got to be careful. War of the Roses, like Frey Civil War. I could do War of the Roses. That could be fun. One video I absolutely want to make is an anarchy video. I want to do a video where I explicitly, like, you know, there's that animated TED Talk video that's like the war that inspired Game of Thrones, and it's about the War of the Roses. I want to do a similar one with House of the Dragon, like the war that inspired House of the Dragon, and it's talking about the English anarchy. That could be fun. Okay, Fantaslop Haven. Yeah, just nothing but slop. Myth Haven, Sci-Fi Haven, Horror Haven. Let's go. Horror Haven. Hold on a second, that sounds cool. I break down horror stories. I'd sell a kidney to see History Haven cover the 100 Years' War. That would be fun. See, here's the thing. I would kind of feel a bit imposter syndrome-y about it. Because I'd be going from one fandom that likes my stuff to, like, a broader audience who are going to be like, your art sucks, your fucking animation sucks, you got everything wrong, and I'll be like, in the corner, like Gollum, I don't know, leave me alone, leave me be, leave me be. Videos on the Glencoe Massacre and Black Dinner. See, that would be... I do want to do a series where I compare A Song of Ice and Fire events with real life events. So, for example, comparing the Glencoe Massacre and Black Dinner with the Red Wedding, because that inspired the Red Wedding. But it's like, is that a video? Or like comparing Marjorie's upcoming trial in the books to the persecution of Anne Boleyn, etc., etc. But like, are those videos for History Haven, or would I have those on Fantasy Haven? I'm not sure. Could I animate Sam Hyde's TED Talk? If someone pays me enough, I'll animate anything. I'm not gonna lie. I shouldn't have said that. Out of context, that is not gonna sound good. I don't take not safe for work requests, please. I'm not that desperate. Right, Okay, I will reveal something. I don't know if I've revealed it in a live stream before, but I have revealed it to my patrons. Yeah, let's just say that there is a vault. There is a secret vault with 3 History Haven videos that I made in the year 2022 that I never released. Because I made 3 videos and I wanted to release all 3 at the same time. History Haven. They were all finished. Quality's terrible, by the way. They were all finished. And I basically was like, I don't want to release them. I'm not vibing with it. And it took me so long to make all of them because I hadn't been diagnosed with ADHD then, right? So like I was like, I can't fucking focus. I had nothing to help me, so it was just took ages, and I hated them all, and it sucked. And I had like a full-time job as well, which took up all my time, and it didn't. Anyway, so I had it was very messy. I finally came up with 3 videos. I had them in the vault. I never did History Haven, but then Hot D season 1 came around, and I was like, you know what? Let me do Fantasy Haven, because my plan was to do history and Fantasy Haven as like both at the same time, with History Haven being the main one, but then Fantasy Haven became the one that blew up. So those 3 videos are in the vault. Let me tell you what they are. The first one is, who is the first king of England? So that one is essentially, who could we call the first king of England? Alfred the Great? Fucking Ethel something or other? Who was Alfred the Great's grandson? I can't remember. Right, is it Harold Godwinson, could we argue? Is it William the Conqueror? You know, etc., etc. And then there's also another one called First Queen of England. Ethelstan, thank you, Ethelstan. And I had a second one called the First Queen of England, which was like, you know, who's the first Queen of England? Was it, you know, was it the wife of Ethelstan? Or was it the wife of William the Conqueror? Or was it Empress Matilda during the English Anarchy? Or was it technically Queen Mary the First? You know, so stuff like that, right? Where I kind of jumped around. What else? Oh, and the third one was the Viking Kings of England. So that was me talking about Canute and his sons, and you know, when England was temporarily ruled by Vikings. I remember seeing a video back in the day of what happens if that reign was not, if that regime like wasn't overthrown. Regimes is not the right word for medieval, but like if they weren't overthrown, like if the Vikings continued to rule England, well, that could have created like a sort of an empire, a North Empire. Anyway, yes, Lady Jane Grey was also in the video. She was. But yeah, those videos, 3 videos, the art is awful, the animation is awful, the audio is awful. I think I even like voice some of the characters, which is very cringy. So those are in the vault. If I ever release them, I might release them on Patreon in an act of, I don't know, masochism, I guess, but I don't know. But there looks like, okay, there's only 100 viewers right now, but it looks like there's some decent support for History Haven. People would be into that. Again, it would be very infrequent because I couldn't jump from history to fantasy. Like, fantasy is my priority, and I'm growing it, and I can't be distracted from it. But like the occasional History Haven, just boom, big history video comes out, hopefully load of views, I go back to fantasy, and they kind of feed off of each other. Yeah, we'll see. Next year is going to be wild. I'm going to work so hard. Witcher content. Who wants Witcher content? Come on. Hollywood Haven, summarize. I just make up. I just talk about movies. I imagine it just becomes a ridiculous brand where it's just like every single genre of everything. Science Haven. I don't know anything about science, but I just like bullshit. Stormlight Archive. I haven't read any Sanderson, so that's another one I want to jump into. I have a whole bunch of like, I want to get through some older like 70s, 80s books first. Like I've got, like I said, Memory, Sorrow and Thorn. I want to do Farseer trilogy. I want to do The Black Company. You know, I want to work my way through some yeah. Please don't jump on the Witcher slop train like everyone else unless you do your peak content of source versus adaptation. Yes, I mean, yeah, what I want to do is basically compare. I want to compare the Netflix show to the books using animation, book versus show. I'd also want to do solos. I want to do standalone animated stuff, like, you know, breaking down a certain kingdom, breaking down certain kind of mythological beasts with monsters within the Witch universe, etc. But yeah, some kind of like book versus episodes, character things like the real Yennefer, the real Geralt, etc. I definitely want to do that. Maybe just standalone reviews of the show where I just kind of review each episode and explain why it fucking sucks. But there's a lot of content out there already that's tearing into the show, so I don't know what I'd bring to it that's new, but yeah. Animated videos for my own CK3 Game of Thrones stories. Yeah. I'm not good enough at CK3 Game of Thrones, though. That's why I don't do many live streams about it. The 2 times I did, I fucking sucked, and all the comments let me know, and I was like, nah, you got a point. Elder Scrolls lore, yes. Flippy says Elder Scrolls lore. I will absolutely... I'd love to do some Elder Scrolls lore. Mummy Azura, you need to calm down. God damn. Tolkien stuff is scary. There's so much of it, and like the fan base, there's like a strain of that fan base that's like very weird and purist and like gets mad at people all the time. So like, seeing as I don't know much about Tolkien, maybe it's safe to just like let people like In Deep Geek handle that, because they know that in depth. So I do have the Silmarillion. I haven't read it yet. Elder Scrolls. So what I'm thinking for next year is essentially, beyond A Song of Ice and Fire and Knights of the Seven Kingdoms, etc., I'm thinking Witcher content, Elder Scrolls content. Those are the 2 safe ways of branching out from A Song of Ice and Fire. Witcher, Elder Scrolls. Maybe doing some other stuff. Maybe doing some more Dune. If I did sci-fi stuff, I would stick to Fantasy Haven. I wouldn't make a separate Sci-Fi Haven, but I would make a separate History Haven channel, so maybe some History Haven as well. I should wrap up soon. I think I'm going to wrap up in 5 minutes, so yeah, I've stayed longer than I thought I would, but yeah, very busy. I'm doing presents, I'm going to my parents, it's all wow. Thank you for the super chat from Obing Elias. It disappeared, there it is. Who says, would you be interested in doing videos about The Legend of Zelda? In my opinion, one of the biggest fantasy game franchises. Probably not, because I just haven't played any Legend of Zelda. I have no experience with it. I didn't grow up on Zelda. Yeah. Again, another topic I could delve into that I don't want to is that as fun as this job is, I don't really want to... I don't like the idea of my entire career being describing other people's worlds and lore and characters, you know? Like, I don't want my whole life to be doing videos about other people's fantasy. I want to write fantasy. But this is a springboard, right? So we're going to have Fantasy Haven, and hopefully I'm going to do some writing next year, maybe get some short stories out or some novels out or whatever, and if you guys are interested, you can check it out, and yeah. Who knows? Maybe the goal is I start doing videos about my own lore in my own books. That's quite fun. Wheel of Time, that's big. I'm interested. I have a friend who's like super into Wheel of Time, and he wants me to do Wheel of Time videos, so I will do just some point in the future. I need to up my reading game, really. The sloppification of a beautiful non-Western story for Hollywood purposes. Is that you talking about The Witcher? Witcher online content is pretty trash compared to... Yeah, there's not really like a Witcher YouTube community. Like, there are channels that, like... The channels that talk about The Witcher just tear into the adaptation, but usually they are channels that their career is reviewing pop culture stuff or tearing into pop culture stuff or whatever. So, like, there aren't, like... I don't know if there are any, like, Witcher-specific channels. I know In Deep Geek has branched out to The Witcher and he does Witcher lore, but like it's kind of a vacuum, which is interesting. It's interesting how much of a vacuum there is, because we have a bunch of popular books, we have absurdly popular billion-dollar games, and then we have a TV show that people hate. But either way, a TV show that's big. It's big. So you'd think there would be more. So, you know, why not? Maybe I should kickstart a proper Witcher fandom on YouTube. That's kind of why I decided to do A Song of Ice and Fire videos. I was like, animated history is a dime a dozen, and A Song of Ice and Fire, there's a lot of A Song of Ice and Fire content, but like a lot of it is either like slop, or it's like a casual hobby where people post every now and then and they don't have many subs and viewers, but they're doing it for fun and it's a passion and they're not viewing it as a job, which is perfectly fine. Or it's like a few, and the successful ones are like few and far between, and I was like, I feel like there's like a gap here to like make A Song of Ice and Fire content, because there's a big audience that wants content and there's not enough content creators that are putting the effort in. So again, you know, yeah, I guess the more I talk about other people's fantasy and break down and do reviews and also like break down the lore, etc., the more I learn myself and the more I can like produce some fantasy books for you, or horror or sci-fi or whatever I want to do, but produce some work for you that's like I've taken in what works and what doesn't work from other media, and I can like use that. There's not a lot of room for theory crafting, which that's true. There's Witcher videos would either be like detailing interesting lore, or most likely just comparison stuff, like comparing Witcher books to the Witcher show, mostly. Have I read the Witcher books? I have, yes. When is the new one coming out? I do want to read that. Do you make the black background slides like the Eerie in this one? I would make all of the background images myself. I could draw them all. What would be quicker would probably be if I did like AI backgrounds with drawn characters on it, but I think that kind of ruins the style. Like I think I should just do everything drawn my way. Yeah. A History of House Connington video. I should do one where I just like emphasize how shit they are, just to piss off Quinn. Speaking of, Quinn and I do want to do more live streams together, but it's a very busy time of year, but like we do want to do more. It's been a while. Okay, yes, I've kind of been rambling for a while. I feel like most of this live stream hasn't even been Frey Civil War. It's just been me chatting. Witcher story is very much written for a Central European audience without any room for tropes or references for modern American/Western audiences. Yeah, like I love the Witcher books, and even so, I'm fully aware that there's probably a whole bunch of references and cultural stuff that I just don't get. And I'm also aware that like as good as the translation is, because the translation is very good, in not in terms of me knowing what the original is, but I mean like the quality of the prose and the translation is very good. I'm aware, despite that there's a lot is lost in translation. Like people say, like there's that guy who did massive analytical videos of Witcher 1 and 2, the games, and they're like several hours long each one. And he starts off the series by being like, I taught myself Polish so that I could read the Witcher books in their original Polish. I was like, God damn. Yeah. Did Quinn rank John Connor's the best POV? That is fucking ridiculous. That is absurd. That is not the best. Oh my god. I don't know why he's such a simp for John Con. Well, I need to watch the video. I'm aware that he's a John Con simp. He's a cool POV, but I don't know, I don't really think about it much. When I think about Song of Ice and Fire POVs, I don't think of John Connington, you know. Again, this is the same man who defends the Daenerys chapters in Dance, so maybe we should do like a debate bro thing, like a political streamer debate bro parody where it's me and Quinn arguing about Dany and A Dance with Dragons. We spend the whole time calling each other Nazis or whatever. Okay, yes, I'm going to end the stream because I was meant to be finished half an hour ago and I have stuff to do. And anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thanks for the super chats. Oh, wait, I'll quickly open DaVinci Resolve. Not fucking DaVinci Resolve. Streamlabs, just in case someone sent a Streamlab donation. I'm no longer doing my live streams through Streamlabs because they keep crashing. So I absolutely need to... I need a new PC, basically. I've been trying to hold together this old-ass PC by, like, adding more RAM, adding a new SSD, etc. And it's like, at this point, I'm just like stapling bandages to a corpse. Like, I need to get a new PC. I need to bite the bullet and buy a big old PC so that I can do better streaming, because I want to do through Streamlabs, etc. Quinn likes The Last Jedi. Does he? That's quite funny. Oh, no Streamlabs donations. I'm offended. Yeah, well, goodbye everyone. Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas. And a Happy New Year, because I'm probably not going to live stream before the new year, but yeah, 2025 is the year. I thought 2024 was an amazing year, just personally, an amazing year. I got out of a dark place and I entered an amazing place, and everything's gone right with my channel and with my personal situation and my financial situation and many other things everywhere, and it's just an awesome year all round. So I'm very happy, and I'm super grateful for all of you. And before I finish, I do have a super chat from Shantu David once again. He's the guy whose super chat I butchered earlier. Again, that looks like a big figure you're sending me, but I don't know what the currency is. Could you tell me what the currency that is, so I have some kind of frame of reference? Yes, Shantanu says, I can't do Patreon from here, so this is what I can do. Thank you so much. Yeah, don't worry about the... I guess Patreon is not in every country. That's a shame. But I should probably open up a second thing for people who want to help out the channel who don't have a Patreon. What's like a PayPal maybe? B, looking forward to your fantasy work. Glad to hear it. Yes, I'll probably just... It's been a while since I've done some writing, so I'm probably going to start off with some short stories. Maybe post them for free, get some feedback, and then I'll be get the confidence to start doing some novels, I guess. C, the twins, where the phrase are support from Lannisters. Wait, the twins, where the phrase support from Lannisters. Wait, what's that last one? What's that last one? The twins were the phrase support the Lannisters. I'm not quite, there's a lost in translation thing there. I'm not entirely sure what you're saying with that third point. But you said nobody does Discworld Earthsea on YouTube. Oh, interesting. Really? Damn, you think there would be? Oh, is that a rupee? Is everyone telling me that's a rupee? Okay, that's cool. Indian fan. I'm having fans everywhere. That's awesome. Thank you so much for the rupees. Discworld, Earthsea. I haven't read Discworld or Earthsea, but I have a couple of Discworld stories, and I do have an Earthsea novel. So, sure, I'm happy to branch out into everything. The more variety there is, the safer my channel is. And it's always good to explore fantasy. Anyway, let's move on. Thank you so much. That's the last super chat. I hate ending live streams. I have so much fun chatting to you guys that I spend 15 minutes wrapping up. I need to just be done. Okay. See you all next time. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, etc., etc. See ya. It's been a great year. 2025 will be even better.